I had a question right away. So when he spoke to you, the tall gray, when he spoke to you, was it you laying down on the table and he looking from you at you, he looking from above at you, or were you like speaking on the same level? Were you sitting or lay down?
I was laying down, and his face was probably about 6 inches from mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then you started the story that you walked away with him to the group of people. Did you remember walking, or you just remember being near them?
I don't remember how I got from the examination room to the other part of the ship. I just found myself there.
Mm-hmm.
My mind wants to fill it in and say they brought me there, but I want to say that without trying to, you know how the brain fills in things when it can't explain things. So I'm going to try to be as accurate as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I just found myself in this other room, looked like a circular room. And there were these beings, human beings, in a circle. And everybody was very sad. They looked like biblical figures. And I'm not a super religious person or anything, but, and I'm questioning this. I'm saying, why am I seeing this, you know? I didn't understand. But I got the feeling that these figures were here on this earth, that they were, this sounds crazy, but I'm just going to say it. It could be I was just a child and I was trying to fill in, but I had the feeling it was Moses and Ezekiel and these type of characters. And I sensed a closeness to them. And we had our heads down, and we were very sad. And there was a screen over to our left. And on the screen were images of catastrophes or events that were going to happen on the earth that were very significant and very sad. I don't remember all of them. I know I was shown several. There was one that I saw thousands of what looked like Middle Eastern men. I don't remember seeing women. Men, and they had white on. And then they had the white things that they wear on their heads. And they had their arms raised and their fists clenched, and they were shaking them. And there was someone speaking. I don't recognize who it was, but it was like they were angry. And then the next shot that I saw, the view, it was a view of Earth from the sky, way out. And I saw what looked like some sort of an explosion, whether something exploded from the earth or hit it, and it affected at least a third of the earth. This stuff came up so high and just fell over a third of the earth. This was definitely not a nuclear weapon. This looked, if I had to put a name to it, I would say it looked like a meteor or something. A meteor hit or something like that, because it was the magnitude, it was just too big. And the feeling of great sorrow and loss, and it was overwhelming. Now, whether or not this was shown me to get a reaction, I don't know. Whether it's something to predict a future event, that's a good question, because I know a lot of other people who do get visited see a lot of the same type of things that I saw. And feeling a great sense of sadness, I remember being walked over to this other area. It's very vague, but I do remember the little being, off-white being, trying to comfort me. He had his hand on my back, rubbing my back, and even he was sad. And I get upset when people say that they have no feelings, because that's not true. Definitely not true.
How many fingers do they have?
You know, I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't tell you. I even actually at one point held one of their hands, and I never counted. But I don't notice that type of thing even with people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't notice. I have a hard time with facial recognition because I have dyslexia, so I notice more of a whole picture rather than intricate details, unless I'm looking for the details.
Do they breathe?
They appear to be. They have a nose. They don't have a bridge for nose, but they have 2 holes. And I know that as I go on further in my conversations about my experiences with them, I will tell you in more detail about what type of beings they are. But for the time being, I wanted to say I didn't want to go back.
Mm-hmm.
I felt so happy with them. I felt so accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they were trying to make me feel that or whatever the case may be, that's how I felt at that time. And they said it was time for me to go back, and I said, I'm not going back. I don't want to go back, and you can't make me. And they got very upset because it was almost like they couldn't force me to do anything. It was like I had to make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
And so they explained to me how important it was that I had to go back, and I kept saying it's so heavy there. The feeling being on the earth was so heavy. It was so sad. And then they said, I told them, I said, well, I want to be able to remember this, because they did say to me, they said, well, it's time to make you forget now. And I said, I'm not forgetting this. And they said that I had to, that I wouldn't be able to live here if I remembered everything. I wouldn't be able to function. It would be too difficult for me. So I said, no, it'd be too difficult for me to think it was just a dream, or that it never happened. And so they went aside and they talked, like a deliberation, so to speak. Then the small one came back, and he said, all right, we'll let you remember some of it. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I need proof, too, that it's not a dream. And he said, we'll give you proof also. And I said, well, good. So the next thing I remember is waking up on the floor in my bedroom. And I immediately, my body just sort of rose up from the floor and went over to the window. And when I looked out the window, I saw this large, what they call a UFO, but it was illuminated like a bright orangey red color, like it was, like it had heat around it or something. And there were windows, like porthole windows all the way around, that were shining from the light inside the ship, like a yellow light. And there were different colored lights, running lights around it. Mm-hmm. I don't remember if they were blue or green, but they were running around the, like...
were these running lights blinking, or they were just spinning smoothly?
They were spinning around smoothly. colors were like it was going around and around, like a light, green light going in, it was, oh gosh, how do I describe it?
Was it a flying saucer?
Yeah.
Did you see any windows or doors?
I saw the windows.
Were they looking windows or just
portal? They look like porthole type windows, not circular but elongated, like an elongated circle.
Were there legs or engines?
Obviously there were engines. I don't know. I shouldn't say obviously. It was just totally still in the sky, and it. Oh boy. It didn't make any noise. It was pretty close where I should have been able to hear something because it was pretty big.
Okay, we have 10-minute periods ending, so we'll stop here, take a break, and continue from here.
Okay. Take a break.
All right.